Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Um, Hope you have a good lunch. And actually, I have a good lunch. I'm feeling a bit sleepy, but I'll try to stay awake. By the way, just a brief introduction before I start. My name is Patrick Tan. I'm a practicing lawyer. I give a lot of talks and seminars. And one of the pet topics that I do very frequently is this topic called the importance of inheritance and estate planning. You may ask, what does this got to do with real estate property? I do a lot of real estate work as well. I can assure you, having been practiced for 15 years now, I can assure you that this is an important topic as far as real estate or protecting your real estate is concerned. I'm sure you have heard a lot or learned a lot about making money from the real estate, how to make more money from the real estate, but it is also my belief that you have to learn how to watch your back. If you don't, whatever that you make may end up losing it. Okay, one case in point is that I'm sure you have read in the papers about a lady, in court now over $30 million property. So like I say, that's a big property in question. So if you don't have proper planning, your property may end up in somebody else's hands. And this is something you do not want to, because you spend a huge sum of money, you spend a lot of time and effort, accumulating your nest egg, buying real estate, whether it's Singapore or Malaysia. You want to protect it. You want to make sure that your real estate go into the people that you love, of course. Otherwise, you may end up having trouble, right, protecting this property. In my other seminars, I also share with a lot of people about how to actually watch out for the legal issues when it comes to buying and selling of real estate. Well, it's good to buy and invest and all this, but there are certain things that you need to look out for. Otherwise, it may turn out that you make a wrong investment. Alright, so today I'm going to share with you, I only have half an hour, so I'm going to pack it in as much as I can, information relating to the importance of inheritance and estate planning. Like I say, I'm a practicing lawyer. I run a law firm, mid-sized law firm in Singapore with 11 lawyers, and we do all sorts of legal practice on different areas of law. My specialty is, like I say, in inheritance and disputes involving family members. We go to court, or rather I go to court very often, and we fight all sorts of cases. One of those cases that we get involved in a lot is family disputes. And what do they fight about? They fight about money. And they fight about property. Alright, like what you may watch on TV, it happens in real life too. So as we speak, I have a few cases on hand that I'm fighting on behalf of family members against other family members. And real estate always feature a part in this whole legal tussle. So the purpose of today's topic, at least for mine, is to share with you why it is important that you should consider planning your estate, make a will, do a lasting power of attorney, while at the same time go and make money from real estate. I hope that at the end of today's, or rather my session, you will walk away convinced that yes, I do not want to procrastinate. I want to make a will now. I want to do a lasting power of attorney. Then we would have achieved our objective. Okay? I'm very sure that you will be convinced that this is important, right? The only thing that I hope is that you do not procrastinate. To date, I've done 8,000 wills in Singapore. Okay, probably the most in Singapore. 8,000, and it's mounting. Every month I do 100 and 200. So more and more people are beginning to see the importance of making a will, or in fact a lasting power of attorney. Some of them, these are the lucky ones. Why do I say they are the lucky ones? Because they actually make a will. I've gone to many hospitals in Singapore. Some didn't make it. We were about to do, the fella died. Right? Unfortunately. So these are the unlucky ones. And some of them, after they do the will, they pass away. You could see a sign of relief when they sign on the will. They say, yes, it's done. Now I know this property goes to who. This condo in Iskandar goes to who. So on and so forth. Right? And then they go. Like I said, some may not be as fortunate. Especially those in this year, you see those on the airplanes, in the ferry, or even driving the car up north-south highway. You may get into an accident, right? I'm not cursing you, but these are things that we have to watch out for, right? So without further ado, okay, standard disclaimer. By the way, this is my Facebook page. If you are interested, please like it. Scope of my session, why it is important to do inheritance and estate planning. What is a will and why do you need one? What happens if you do not have one? How do you make a will? Even for those who have a will and LPA, please pay attention because you may learn something that maybe you didn't know previously. Okay? So why it is important to plan? because property is a substantial asset, and so are the sale proceeds. So when you make a substantial investment, buying property, when you subsequently flip it or sell it, huge amount of money, you need to plan. Or if you don't sell it, that property in itself is a huge investment. So you need to plan. All right. Proper planning can ensure that your assets, your real estate will be given in accordance to your wishes. Otherwise, how will your real estate be given? In Singapore context, it will be given away in accordance to law. I'll explain more later. It is also important to plan how to give away your real estate, your asset, your money, so on and so forth, because you want to avoid disputes among family members. Like I said, I've done many cases, going to court many times. As we speak, like I said, I have many cases involving family members, all because there was no planning. The parents assume their children know. The father assumed that the mother know. You know, the common mistake is we always make assumptions, right? So never make assumptions, because I've seen family falling apart because of assumptions, right? Wrong assumptions, of course. You know, the husband will think, oh, my wife know how to give, who to give, but actually the wife doesn't know, or doesn't want to know, or pretend to know, right? At the end, what happened? You have the children fighting one another. So your nice investment in Singapore, your condo, your houses, all this may be subject of a dispute. At the end, when you go to court, who earns? Me lah, right? I dare to say with you, if a property in dispute, or the subject matter in dispute is a property, at least it costs more than 250,000 confirmed. Anything that is worth more than 250,000 in dispute, we fight in the High Court. In the High Court, you can imagine, you fight 10 days, 9 to 6. You hire 3 lawyers on your team. Easily, betul-betul 200,000 legal fee. Easily, right? So you do not, and if you lose, you have to pay the other side legal fee as well. So you look at 400,000, and you lose your property also. So you can imagine. So moral of the story is that you are here, you want to make money, you want to buy good properties, but at the same time you have to watch your back. You have to make planning. Otherwise you cannot like chong forward and then don't look at the back, you see. You may end up losing a lot of money. Alright? Avoid delay and increase in cost. So proper planning will also help you to avoid delay and increase in cost. Alright, again I'll explain to you later, because life is uncertain. I mean, for all those reasons that I mentioned, this year you see a lot of tragedies. You never know. Alright? Recent tragedies, I don't have to remind you. MH37017, SQ06, MI185, which I have the unfortunate privilege, I would say, to be involved in when I was in my previous law firm. So I was involved in the 2 air crash. In terms of handling the claims, insurance, you see family being wiped out, right? Young parents killed, leaving behind young children. It was very sad, and the parents don't have a will. So you say, why would that be sad? No will only one. The case that I handled involved in the High Court, where we went to the High Court and fight over the guardianship of the young children. Both sides, grandparents think they're the best caregiver because the parents died together, so they didn't have a will to say who is going to look after their young children. So at the end, both sides, grandparents went to High Court and fight over the grandchildren. Very sad, because the children got split up, 135 one side, 246 the other side. Sunday rest day. Alright, so it's very unfortunate. If only the parents had planned properly. Okay? Common mistakes. Like I said, I hope that at the end of this short half an hour, you will say that, okay, I think this is important. In fact, more important than buying a $1 million property. Your will and LPA only cost you a few $100s, ladies and gentlemen. Right? So I don't think it is something that you should procrastinate or think too hard, too long about it. Because like I said, we are all going to go. It's a question of when and how and in what manner. Right? Confirm. Unless you say that, no, I'm not going to die. So nothing will happen to me. So my advice is that do not procrastinate, because you never know when it's going to happen. And another common mistake is we always presume that death will not happen to us, at least not so soon. I've been doing this sort of seminar for more than 10 years now. Almost every week I run a seminar. Last time, a couple of years ago, when I gave talks like this, I probably do not speak with much conviction, but I can assure you 3 years ago, something terrible happened in my life. I lost my best friend of over 20 years. My army buddy, 39 years old, died, heart attack. I was having lunch with him, 2 days later he's dead. He's an SPH scholar, editor in the Straits Times. Right, so he died. I always tell him, hey, dude, you're going to make a will, you know. You have a condo in Balestier, you know, so on and so forth. He say, no lah, will is for 90 years old. We only 30 over, no need to make a will. We won't die. And he died. And he didn't make a will. And there's a lot of problem. And then 3 months after he passed away, my own father died at 68. 2 weeks after my father died, my uncle died at 67. So ladies and gentlemen, in less than 4 months, 3 people left my life. And they are not very old, no? 60s, 30s and all this. So that's why always plan, because we never know when it's going to happen. Alright? Another common mistake, we think our next of kin know what to do. They may know now, but when you pass on, they may not know. Maybe they forget, or they try not to remember, or they don't want to know. Alright? Then things will happen. And misconception about will. What kind of misconception? They think that if you make a will now, you'll lose your condo tomorrow. Or you lose all your money. Your will only come into effect when you die. Alright, so when you're alive, your will has no effect. That means that you can change your will at any time. Similarly for your LPA. You do a LPA today, authorizing a tour guide to be your donee, don't worry. Next month you can authorize another guide or whoever that you want. You can revoke it. Okay, you are not bound as long as you are still conscious. Alright, so don't have to worry that once you make a will, you do an LPA, you are bound. There's nothing you can do. Alright? So what is a will? Quickly, it's a legal document setting out your wishes as to how your assets are to be dealt with after you die. So the key word is after, not before. Alright? So your assets, your condominium, your investment, your real estate will be distributed only after you pass away by your will. So before you pass away, that means you can change your will anytime. That means your condo will still be there. Nobody is going to take it away from you. So very safe. So this is a legal document, a will. It's not verbal. Okay, like you whisper before you die to the ears of your family member. All these are bopake, not effective. It has to be in writing. Alright? So a will has to be in writing. It basically sets out your wishes. Okay, who is going to get what? Who is going to get this condo? Who is going to get that house after you pass away? This is important. Because if you do not have a will, all these assets will be distributed by law. In Singapore, it's either you die with a will or you die without one. Very straightforward. If you die with a will, most of your assets, including your properties, will be given by your will. If you die without one, the law will help you distribute. So it doesn't make sense, right? Your own money, your own property, then the law tell you who to give. To me, it doesn't make sense. To me, that you attend this seminar, pay so much money, come here, attend, spend time, and then later on when you die, you ask the law to distribute for you. I say you should distribute your own property because this is your property. You should not let the law decide for you. So naturally, it is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself and your family, right? Because you plan for them. Maybe you think that your daughter needs more help, so you give her one condo, or give her more money than you do to give your son because your son is a rascal, so on and so forth, right? So assets to be given in the will. Real estate, that is one thing that you can give, all right? Personal asset, meaning cash, shares in your CDP account, insurance policy, your shirt, jacket, all this can be given as well. No problem. Other purposes of a will. You can also use a will to appoint an executor. In fact, not say use a will. A key feature of a will is that you get to appoint this fella called executor. This is the person in charge of distributing your asset, transferring your real estate to your beneficiary. You may ask me, why is this so important? My wife know, ma. My wife know my heart, know who to give one. Like I say, don't assume. You know, she may not know or she may choose not to know. Or she may think that actually you want to give everything to her and not to anyone else. Then that will be a problem, right? So if you have a will, you set out clearly, I appoint so and so to be the executor. If you die without a will, who is going to help you distribute? Again, you think your wife, your children, your husband, your auntie, your uncle. I have encountered cases. Let me share with you one case. A few years ago, these 5 children came to my office, say, oh, my father died last week. So he has a condo, it's frozen, we need to sell. I say, where's your mother? Oh, mother at home crying, too depressed. So 5 of us. First question I asked, did your father leave a will? You say, no will. Then the elder son asked me, so how will his condo and his money be distributed? I say, since there is no will, under the law, mother 50, children 50. Standard, very simple, right? So mother 50, children 50, equal share. So that means each of you 10%. Then I say, then the condo, how to divide like this? Sell lor. Sell already, the sale proceeds. 50% to your mom, 50% to each of you. So then they begin to ask me, so what exactly is required? You know, so I say, first I need a volunteer. This person is going to be called administrator. Your mother has the first right, but because your mother is a bit depressed, so any of you can be a volunteer administrator. This administrator has to appoint me, pay me legal fee, apply for a court order, appoint agent, sell the property, distribute. Then they say, how to distribute? I say, in accordance to the law. 50% to the mother, 50% to each of you. So then they look at each other. I don't know whether they're happy or not happy with what they have heard. I say, so how are you going to engage me? So the eldest brother said, Pat, let me ask you this. Assuming, if, just if, not confirm. If, let's say I volunteer, I do the job. I say that means I hire you, right? I got to pay you legal fee. I got to then later get the court order, sell the property. If, do I get more? He said this in front of his brother and sister. Everybody was in shock. I was in shock too. I said, wow, so awkward. You know, then you can see the brother, sister all look at him. Wow, you know, embarrassing. How can you say this kind of thing, brother? You know, Patrick said very clearly, you don't get more. Everybody equal share, right? Mother 50, we 50. Then his question, then I do for what? He also, wow, not shy. You know. Then if I don't get more, why do I do? No point. Then I say, yeah, but somebody has to do it, right? Then they started quarreling. Wow, how can you like that say? You embarrass all of us. Then they all will almost fight in my office. I got to send them all home. I said, this is your father's asset, your father's condo. As the children, right? Somebody has to step forward. This is not the time to talk about who should get more, right? In fact, you can't because the law is very clear. So they couldn't decide, you know. It took them 6 months. In the meantime, everything jammed. Finally, the youngest one come, not happy. They arrow me. So I do what? So when he came to my office, he blackface already. He say no choice, since they asked me to do, I do. So relationships sour. Delay of 6 months. A lot of things can happen in 6 months. Meanwhile, the condo stuck there. Maintenance fees you have to pay. Correct? So you have all this problem. Another similar case. A group of siblings came, no will also. I say I need a volunteer administrator. Somebody to step forward. Everybody raised their hands. I say I don't need so many, one enough already. They say I do, I have time. You know, all have time. Suddenly. When the father is around, all no time. Now suddenly father not all have time. You know. Then again they started quarreling. Accusing each other that they will run away with the money if they were to do. So again I sent them all home. Took them a few months to resolve. So before we could even talk about selling your investment, selling your property, distributing the asset, we already have this issue. Who is going to do? Right? So if you have a will, you don't have this problem. You just say straight away, I appoint so and so to be the executor. First problem solved. Then everything can move forward. You can proceed to realize a real estate. You can also use a will to set out your funeral instructions. Make specific gift. For instance, my Rolex go to who, my car go to who, my jacket go to who, my condo go to who, right? What kind of funeral you want? Buddhist, Taoist, Christian, you know, Muslim, so on and so forth. You may think again, this is quite obvious, right? Your family, no. Again, I said, I've stopped people fighting in front of the mother's coffin at the funeral. Siblings fight, I got to pull them apart. I say, why are you fighting in front of your mother's coffin? Then the brother say, how come Buddhist one? Then the daughter say, Buddhist ma. Then say, I thought Christian ma. Wow. Like that also fight. You see, there are situations like this, real cases, you know. So my point is that don't let this happen to you and to your family. That is key. Like I say, you are accumulating all this real estate, all this investment for yourself, I believe, but also for your family. So go a step further. Plan for that. Don't let this kind of thing happen, because it will really break up family. Alright? So now, if by now you still think, no lah, I'm not convinced, I will, no point lah, I won't die one lah. You know, or they know what to do, no. Now let me share with you. If you die without a will, your real estate, your asset will be distributed by this law called the Intestate Succession Act, which is a law in Singapore to govern the distribution of asset for those who pass away without a will. By the way, I see there are Muslim here. Muslim can also make a will, but you can only give 1/3 of your asset to non-family members under the Sharia law. All right. This is the formula. It is not created by me. You can Google it. So no choice. So if you die leaving a spouse, no children, no parents, your spouse 100%. The law doesn't care whether your marriage is on the rock, whether you still love your husband. It does not matter. As long as you are married, he or she will get 100% of your condominium, of your cash, of your car. All right? So if you die leaving a wife and a child, your wife 50, child 50, your poor parents 0, kosong. So your elderly parents thinking that you're probably going to give them something. Already quite sad you die already. Then the next thing know that actually your wife and your children take everything. They got 0. And they probably need more help than anybody else. But the law doesn't provide for them. Next of kin come first. Spouse come first, followed by children, right? 50-50. Your elderly parent 0. Followed. Spouse, no children but got parents, okay. Spouse 50. Your mother 25, father 25. If you don't have a spouse, no children, your parents passed away long time ago, your siblings equal share. Then grandparents, auntie, uncles. What if you die alone in this world? There are, right? There are people. Yesterday I just met somebody, he said that she told me that she's alone in this world. So who is she going to give? Or what if she doesn't want to do a will? Who do you think is going to take the condominium? Correct, Cheng, who take? So think about it, You work 30 years, buy property, investment. Thank you very much. If you die alone in this world, government say, well done, Singaporeans. Well done. Thank you for nation building. Contributing to nation building. It's provided in the law. The state will take all your assets if you die alone. Again, you may think it may not happen. Where got so sway? Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes all of you travel in an airplane, holiday. Everybody go together. Hard to say. But if it does, then really, whatever condo you buy, nobody left, government take. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my point. Your asset, your real estate, your money, you let the law distribute for you in this kind of fashion. It is very rigid. Maybe you love your son more, so you want to give your son a bit more. But you can't. You have to give in equal share. Your favorite nephew and nieces not inside this formula, if you realize. So if you want to give them, cannot. If you want to give to SC Property, also cannot. Or Patrick Tan, for the matter, is not here. So basically, it's very restrictive. I'm sure you have some favorite charitable organization or religious organization that you may want to help or give a bit. Down here, it's not here, man. So, if you have a will, your will override this. That's how powerful your will is. Your will can state that I give everything that I have to a charity, or to one person, or to Patrick Tan. Nobody can stop you. No one can stop you. That is how powerful. And I believe that you should do that because these are your assets. You should decide, not let the law decide for you. And it is not difficult to do, by the way, a will. Usually, for all my clients, it's just one trip, 1 hour, 2 hours, finish. Okay, not multiple appointments. And it is very affordable, right? A few $100s only. So not every one of your choice is reflected in the table. Nephew, nieces, distributions and percentages are fixed. You cannot change. Case study, wife versus in-law. It's a horror story. This is a divorce case that I did a couple of years ago. My client, 36-year-old, filed for divorce against his wife, who is a Thai national. So the divorce, for all intent purposes, went quite smoothly. So we got the interim judgment, which is the temporary divorce order. He came down to my law firm, paid me my legal bill, collected the interim judgment, was very happy. Finally, I'm free. I said, no, you're not free yet. You have to wait 3 months for a final judgment before you can marry your girlfriend. He said, yeah, whatever, I've been waiting for this day for a long time, I'm so happy now. Patrick, thanks for all your help. 2 weeks later, I got a call, he committed suicide. Then the father came. I said, dude, what happened? He was so happy 2 weeks ago. He said, yeah, I also didn't know. He killed himself in his bedroom, right, with a knife. So it was quite horrible. So the father asked me, so what's going to happen to his asset, his HDB flat, and his bank account money? First question I asked, got bill, no will? Father say no will lah, 30 over years old, where got will one? I say, so no will, right? No will under the law is presumed that he is still married. So apply the law. Just now the law. Parents, 50. The Thai wife, 50. Then the father look at me, I look at him. How? Uncle can understand, right? He said, can understand but cannot understand. And that was what he did. He sold off everything, flew to Thailand and give 50% to his daughter-in-law, who's also in a state of shock. Huh? How come suddenly jackpot? How come got 50%? Ridiculous situation. Why it happened? Because my client did not foresee his own death. He thought that these things will never happen. He didn't make a will. Alright? Another case. All these are real, not fictitious. 28 years old, Kevin committed suicide in Boon Lay after a fight with his wife. No will, wife 50, parents 50. Elderly gentleman came to my law and said, "Pat, I need your help. My son jumped off a building at Boon Lay." So I say, what happened? The wife found a boyfriend, wanted to divorce him. He couldn't take it, they killed himself. I say, "Uncle, got will, no will?" He say, "No lah, 28 years old, where got will?" I say, "No will, right?" Very simple. He say, "My son got 100,000 in his bank account. What is going to happen to it?" Apply the law. Auntie, 25, uncle, 25, your favorite daughter-in-law, 50. Right? So probably she might spend it with her new boyfriend, you know. Sorry, I have to say it, you know. Then the father also don't know whether happy or not happy. You know, a bit of mixed emotion. He said, "This cannot be. How can my daughter-in-law take his money?" I say, "Because your son didn't attend the seminar, probably. Or didn't understand, you know. Say, oh yeah, maybe before I jump off the building, right, I need to call Pat first, you know. Better make a will first. After that, then I kill myself." Nobody think like this, you see, unfortunately. When things happen, right? That's why I say don't procrastinate. This is, to me, very fundamental and very important. So, of course, to complete the story, we sent a letter to the daughter-in-law, say, "Please don't do it. Leave the money alone." And she wrote back, she probably attended my course. I say, under the law, I'm entitled 50%. So I'm entitled 50,000, but out of goodwill, I respect my parents-in-law, I will take 25,000. I return 25,000 to my parents-in-law. It's very sad. It's a tragedy, you know. Because all these people, they did not make a will. They could not foresee. What other problems if no will? Wishes may not be fulfilled. Non-family members will not get. Your favorite charity will not get. You cannot pick your executor. Can be a big problem like I mentioned earlier. And also we cannot appoint a guardian. So if young parents or parents were to die together in a common tragedy, leaving behind young children, who's going to look after them? If you have a will, the will can sort this out. Other problems, division of asset for sale. Your real estate, how to chop it up into 50%, 10% each. Then what, 6 owners, 8 owners. Not easy, especially if it's a HDB flat. One of your children may already own one, so cannot own another share in another HDB. So your favorite HDB will be sold, and the sale proceeds divided. Your Rolex, how is it going to be 50% wife, 50% children, chopped into half? Cannot. So your favorite Rolex will be sold as well. So if you don't have a will, your assets may be forced sold. Longer time to settle estate, higher cost of administration, dispute amongst family members. These are all potential problems if you do not have a will. Ladies and gentlemen, it only costs you a few $100s to avoid all these things. Case study, forced sale of asset. Deceased has no will, she has half share in the flat. So under the law, the deceased estate divided between husband 50 and 4 children 50. Because she didn't have a will. 2 of the children have their own flat. So they wanted to cash out, insisted that their retired father buy their share or sell in open market. Tragedy. They tell the father, "I don't care, you don't have a place to stay, you know. Maybe you can stay in those 1-room rental, you know." But the children wanted, they say, "Sorry, too bad, because no will, we are entitled to 50%, and not our fault because we already have a flat. We cannot own another flat. So don't blame me, blame HDB maybe. So now you need to sell. Dad, sorry, don't worry, you find a 1-room flat for you." Very sad, because no will. However, okay, there are certain things that cannot be included in your will. CPF, money in your CPF account when you die will not be given by your will, it will be given to your nominee. So please make a nomination, download the form online. CPF board doesn't really care whether you have will or no will. So make a nomination. If you don't make a nomination, your funds in your CPF account will be distributed by the law that I explained earlier, Intestate Succession Act. So please make a nomination. Money already taken out of your CPF account now, to buy unit trust, buy property, all these are not considered. What we are referring to is your minimum sum, government recently raised it, Medisave, ordinary account, those money inside your account when you die, they will be given to your nominee. Joint ownership property, so if you have real estate bought in tenancy in common, they're okay. If properties are bought in joint tenancy, go back and check your title deed. Or for HDB owner, your duplicate list. These magic words will be reflected there. Joint tenancy or tenancy in common. Joint tenancy means no more when you die. So when you die, for instance, your wife take your death certificate, go to Toa Payoh HDB and say, my husband died last week. They will just cancel your husband's name. You become sole owner. Doesn't care whether the husband put in 500,000, right? So basically when the husband dies, he no longer has a share in the flat because it is joint tenancy. So since he doesn't have any more share in the flat, he cannot give what he does not have in the will. So basically, to try not to make it sound crudely, who die first? Liao. Okay, in a joint tenancy situation. If you die first, the property belongs to the surviving owner. This law applies to your joint bank account. For those with joint account with your wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, right? When you die, you no longer has a share in the joint bank account, the money. The money belongs to the surviving joint account holder. So these are the assets that cannot be included in your will. Some insurance policy where you have made nomination also cannot be included in the will. Other than that, your will can be used to distribute most of your assets. Needless to say, real estate bought in your own name can be included in your will. Real estate bought in tenancy in common, that means 50-50, 80-20, 70-30, this kind of pattern can be included in the will. Alright? So you may ask me, just to preempt you from asking me later, right? So what if all our assets are joint tenancy? All my bank accounts are joint account with my wife. So no need to make will lah. Because you say I die, everything go to my wife, right? Yes, but the question is who will die first? You think you die first, right? So what if your wife die first? If we know who die first, then I don't need to be here already. Right? So the point is that we don't know who die first. If your wife die first, all the joint asset goes to you. Then all the more you need a will. Or if you die first, all the joint assets go to your wife. Then your wife also need a will. That's why now very common husband and wife do will together, called mirror will. Joint will. Mutual will. Or lovey-dovey will. Whatever you call it. Basically the will involve husband give to wife, wife give to husband. When they both die, they give to their children. Very popular now. Especially year end when they go holiday. They always, now is a peak period. They always come and get their will done because all going holiday. You see. So some common reasons for not doing a will. I'm not a millionaire, no time taboo, I won't die yet, expensive family, know what to do. Believe me, I've done 8,000. These reasons no longer hold true. So don't let all this hold you back. It's not complicated. So act now, spend a lifetime building your nest egg and investing in real estate. Don't let the law tell you who to give. You have to decide. Don't take your chances, you only live for. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go into... Actually, I do. I do have 5... Oh, time's up. Sorry, so I was shown time's up. Otherwise, I can go a bit on lasting power of attorney, but maybe we can take that during the panel discussion. All right, thank you very much.